Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis. And I always like to introduce the team, as such as it is. Let me start with Oz, the wise and powerful Oz.
Hello. Thank you behind you, Giant Cat.
My partner in crime. He's been with me since 1998. He took all of his practitioner training with me, except for one class, and has served our church basically all this time. However, there was a little gap when he moved to Florida and we couldn't get him in the service. Who is this?
That's Romy.
Oh, hi. um, he was my first baby practitioner and then became our board president. And then, like I said, moved to Florida, so we lost the ability to have him in the service until we went live for the pandemic. And I asked him if he'd be willing to be practitioner of the day. And he said, sure. And here we are 6 years later, almost every week. You know, I don't think either one of us thought it would last this long. I'm real clear that I'm more comfortable with this now. In the beginning, I grieved having our facility, but I'm actually starting to understand that this is a really good way to do it. You know, we don't have to go. I can't even find stuff here.
Oh, Uranus to the first house helps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you know, we don't have to set up the service. I don't have to do affirmation cards on Saturday night. You know, there's a lot of benefit to doing it this way. I don't get the physical feedback from the people in the audience, but I'm learning to deal with that because I have you. So I at least have one face that I can see. So anyway, he is our practitioner of the day today, which means he'll be doing the invocation, the benediction, and be available at the end for our 1 minute miracle. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So, all right. Then there is the adjunct music team that we have, such as it is. Reverend Fairy Lane Silver was the first one to ask us to do her music in the church service. And I'm really blessed with that because I like having a full church service. I just don't feel comfortable sitting here and talking for an hour. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a church service to me when that happens. So she was the first to ask us to do her music. And then Karen Drucker, who's been the music director of like 8 different churches, gifted us with her entire collection. At that time was 20 CDs worth of karaoke files and songbooks, so we'd have the lyrics and all of that. So these two ladies never appear on camera, but we use their music a lot. And then there's Albertina Giuffre, who was our soloist from like, I think she showed up in 2000 and served the church until 2021. And then her ex-husband died, and she tried to get the house ready for sale. She's still working on that 5 years later, but she appears for what she calls the crying season, which is Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day. We didn't do the normal thing this year because Faith left. And so we used to have Faith do some of the music and Tina do the rest. And so, and she appears for 2 of our Advent series during Christmas time. So that is the team that God has provided us. So, all right, I am going to, let's see, close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Presence of God. It's always right here, right now. For God, as we conceive of it, is all things, encompassing the entirety of the universe as it is, as it has been, and as it possibly could be. For all these things are one with the universal and eternal power of God. God, as we think of it, is in each of us, as each of us, and there is no place that God's presence is not. So therefore, God must be right here, right now, in each of us, living us, breathing us, working our cells, working the unique organic chemistry that makes life possible, and that spins the atoms and rotates the planets around the suns in the universe. All of it in this one great being that we call God. I know that God's blessing moves through our service and that it reaches and touches every life. Knowing that this is good and that this is so, I let it be with great thanks. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. Okay, if you're here, please say hi, hello, good morning, however you'd like to greet us. When we're in a facility, I can look out and see the shining faces beaming back at me. Here I get a name. I get a number. I don't even get names. So I don't know who's in attendance. So please reach out and say hi, hello, good morning, however you feel comfortable. Just let me know you're here. If you stop by later, say hello just to let me know that you were here. And quickly before we go on, somebody just sent me a message and said, what was the family emergency? So 20 years ago, I lost my oldest brother to a massive stroke. He lasted about 10 years and then died of a heart attack. And the next one down, Saturday night, had a stroke. And we didn't know anything. We didn't know how bad it was until the MRI report came in. Gratefully, it was a mild stroke and things are okay. He's lost some of his inhibitions, but other than that, he's okay. And so thank you, all of you, for your outpouring of love that I received. I really appreciate that. Okay, if you like something that you hear, whether that's something I say or Oz prays or some of the music, use that like button. Let me know that you like it. And if you love something, send us hearts. We love to get love. And if something really strikes you as powerful that I say, by all means, use that wow button. It lets me know when I'm on track. So, all right, this next song is one that Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver wrote when she was in her practitioner training. And it's a really good reminder that we are all connected.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I have seen, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Yes, we are all one in it. I love that song because it reminds us that we are connected by it, through it, as it, to all of life. All right. We are going to start the series based on my book, 10 Weeks on the Road to Prosperity. I wrote it in, like 2003, something like that. And it was edited by my good friend, Dr. Margaret Stannard, who is no longer with us. And she edited a lot of books. She was a pretty prolific writer herself. And anyway, in 2008, we presented it to the congregation in book form. And everybody loved it so much, they wanted me to do a follow-up series of 10 weeks on the road to my perfect body, not like a size 3, but each person's perfect body. I never got around to doing that, unfortunately. And so I was working from Oz's house in Florida one time, and I spilled a bottle of water on my laptop, and it fried the hard drive. So I have lost all copies of my book because the rest of them were destroyed they were up in my crawl space and something happened and all of the hard copies that I had were destroyed. So I've been recreating it all this time. And so we are going to work with that today. It's based on the idea that it's a journey to prosperity. And each week we're going to have what we call an inspirational stop, kind of a tourist attraction, if you will. And this week is gratitude. And I'll talk more about that in a bit. But let me just give you some basics of the series so that you know we need some premises that we can agree on. The first one is that we believe that God is a divine intelligence rather than a personality that has preferences, or rather than someone up in heaven who is directing our lives. We don't believe in that kind of God. No wise judge in the sky, no white robes, no long beard. We believe that God is a divine intelligence that runs through all of life and knows how to create something from nothing. You know that there's a TV ad creating something from nothing. It's I don't even remember what product it is, but Kraft, I think. But what we believe is backed up by quantum physics. Now, they don't call it a divine intelligence. They just say the entire world is made up of the same matter, the atoms and molecules, and that there is an intelligence in the universe that knows how to turn that material into something. Okay. We call it a divine intelligence. And we say that because what quantum physics says is how the atoms bump up against each other determines the solidity of it. For instance, if it's really fast, you're going to get like this desk or a podium or your house or, something like that. If it's slow, it's more like air or water. And somewhere in between is the living beings on this planet, on all the planets, I guess. And so we say that is God's stuff, right? And that the divine intelligence knows how to create from that divine matter, that God stuff. And so we are created from that God stuff. Rather than a God out here somewhere, we believe that God flows in and through us and is in us. And so when for instance, last week, I think, or a week before last, we did a visioning and we were asking God, what is God's vision for my life? We were asking that divine essence inside of us to provide that answer. So that's our version of God. Now, I know that God is an interesting concept for some people. I had someone show up in my church one time when we had a facility, and they said, "Hi, Mahesh." They said that we would come back if you didn't use the word God so much. And so I had to explain to them that this is a church, and people come here expecting me to talk about God. But feel free to use whatever term appeals to you. Some people are going to call that Allah. Some people are going to call that spirit or great spirit. Some people are just going to say it's an intelligence. Some people are going to say whatever word works for you. Feel free to translate that for yourself. My word is God, so that's what I'm going to use. And so, given that premise, that is what all of this is based on. So I want to make sure that we're on the same page about what I mean when I'm talking about God. Having trouble with my cursor today. It keeps disappearing. And that there is a creative process that we need to be aware of. So let me pull that up real quick. I can't see the comments for some reason. You comments. Hi. Okay. Thank you. I finally got it. All right. So let me pull that up real quick. The teaching symbol. So you can see what we call the divine process, or the creative process, I should say. Now, this is our teaching symbol. It is circular, which represents the unbroken unity of all life and the endlessness of the cycle, right? There is no beginning, there is no end. Now, you can't really part out God. There are times when I wish I could, but you can't really part out God. So in order to be able to speak intelligently about this and help people understand what we teach, we've divided this into 3 sections. The top portion is the conscious mind, and this is where God thought us into being, so to speak. The middle portion is the divine matter, or the God stuff that we are created from. And then the bottom is our physical being. And so when you look at this process, you see this V that comes down from the conscious mind through the God stuff down into form, and then back, it returns back to the nothingness from which it came. And what's important to note about that is that is the process of life, okay? But it works the same on our individual nature. So the top portion represents our conscious mind, like seeds going into soil, where we have an intention to create something. The middle portion is really more like what I call a computer hard drive, because it records everything that we've ever experienced, everything we thought, felt, seen, heard, everything we know, and our responses to any of that stimuli. And so it is the thing that either helps us create our reality or hinders us from creating our reality. And I'll talk more about that as we get into the program. And then the bottom portion is the physical reality that we have created. So if you take the seed, for example, you plant the seed in the soil, which is that middle section, and you add water and fertilizer and sun, and the plant comes up at the end. That's the bottom. Note that it comes from the conscious mind or the seed all the way through to the form and then returns back into the nothingness from which it came. That is the process of creation as we teach it. And so we're going to be, I will definitely get into that each week. There'll be another piece of it. But it's important for us to understand the way we think of God and the way we see creative process. The second one is, or the third one, I should say, because the second one was languaging. Doesn't matter where we call it. The third premise is that there are spiritual laws in the universe, much like the physical laws, like gravity, for example. And we can use it. We do use it. But we can use it consciously, all of these laws. And so one by one, we're going to talk about those as we go through. The most important one for today is the law of circulation, because we need to understand how that works, right? Okay, so we're going to do a little exercise that will allow us to grasp that on a physical level. Okay, if you want to participate with me. All right, I want you to take a nice deep breath in. Hold it. Take another deep breath. Hold it. Take another deep breath. Hold it. And at some point you can release. At some point, we have to let go of that breath in order to take more in, right? That's the way the law of circulation works. So when we're talking about prosperity as a perfect example, you must give out in order to receive. Same thing goes with relationships, right? You can't expect to get someone to give you love and fill you up if you're not giving love in return. It's that way with health. All of these principles, all of these laws, all of the stuff I'm going to be talking about, the tools, are all applicable to both prosperity, health, and relationships. So that's good to know, right? And then the next premise we need to explore is that thoughts create our reality. Now, we have something like 400 thoughts a minute, and so it's good for us to recognize that not all thoughts are creative, thank God. Because I don't know about you, but I need some stability in my universe, right? And so my mind goes like this. I want that. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Can you imagine what life would be like if every thought was creative? It's important to note that, things would appear and disappear and appear and disappear, and there would be no stability in the world. So we need that stability. So God has implanted within us a filter. And that filter says that only the thoughts, only the preponderance of our thought that are fueled by emotion will create. Now, let me talk about that a little bit. So if you have a vehicle, say our vehicle is the thought. If you have a vehicle, if you don't pour fuel into the gas tank, the vehicle's not going to move, right? And so we are very much like that, in that if I want to create something, not only do I have to have the preponderance of my thought around it, but I also have to have fuel. And the fuel is the emotion. Now, we can create something negative if we want, because, if we're creating out of fear or hatred or, vengeance or anything like that, we're going to get like back. But if we're creating with positive emotions, love and peace and joy, then we're going to get that back. And so it's really important that we focus our attention on the good stuff, because we want to make sure that the good stuff is what creates in our reality. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about in this program is that we have to have a map of where we are and where we're going, right? I mean, you wouldn't go on a road trip without some sort of map. I know these days you have GPS, but even with GPS, you have to put in the location that you're at and the location you want to be at. So I'm going to use that as our symbol. Duchess? No. And so our map is going to come from assessing where we are in our prosperity and then where we want to be in the end. And I have a tool. Let me pull it up real quick. We have a tool that I'm going to give you, and this will be your homework for the week. No, that's not it. Sorry. I used to have Faith to do this for me. Share screen. There we go. Before I do that, I need to do this. Okay, now I should be able to do that. Each person who requests it will be giving this. Here's the worksheet. First off, you're going to list all of your avenues of income. Doesn't matter, what that source of income is. You're just going to list it. That's not something you're going to give to me or anybody else. This is just for your own purposes. But you're going to list every bit of income that you have, and then you're going to total it. That's in the left-hand column. In the right-hand column, I need to switch this actually, because we're going to start tithing to ourselves. And this is not, for some gift you're going to give somebody or some trip you're planning for somebody else. You're not going to do that. What you're going to do is use that money for yourself. Because here's what happens. We go along in life paying our bills and whatever. And if there's anything left over, then we use it for ourselves. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that that time never comes. So we're going to, on paper right now, we're going to give ourselves 10%. Now that may not be a whole lot. If you have $2,000 a month coming in, that's only $20. Okay. But you're going to put it in a fund. And I always suggest that we do separate bank accounts for everything, that there's a fund bank account and there's a, self-improvement bank account, and there's, so that you split that $20 over all those accounts. May not seem like much. We're going to start out with just the $20. Eventually, it'll be $200 a month when we get to full tithing, but we'll talk about tithing in a second. But what's important is that you allocate that money for yourself right off the top, because otherwise you will never, ever achieve what you need to achieve to get to be able to spend the money on yourself, right? I don't know if you've had that in your reality. I know I have in mine. And then we're going to do the same thing with God. We're going to do 10% to God. We're going to start out, we're going to step up to tithing is what I call it. Week 1, we're going to give 1%. And week 2, we're going to do 2%. And week 3, we're going to do 3%. And we're going to do that because I can guarantee you will not miss that money. Again, with our example, if you bring in $2,000 a month, you're talking about $20 in the first week. And then you're talking about, 2% would be $40. You're not going to miss that money, you see. And then eventually you will get up to the point where you're actually tithing 10%. Now, the way tithing works is that in the olden days, they used to take 10%, the best 10% of their crop to the temple. Now, everybody knows that you take 10% in farming or ranching, you take 10% and you reinvest it in. Okay. So what we're doing is we're reinvesting in ourselves as well as the 10% that goes to the temple. But what that does is that secures, in the law of attraction, that secures that you have given 10% and it will be returned unto you. And so when you work with tithing, when you finally decide, okay, I'm going to do this, it will increase your prosperity. So we're going to do 10% to God on this paper, 10% to God, 10% to ourselves, and 10% for debt relief or investments. Again, you're going to have a separate bank account for that. And then you're going to list all of your other bills and expenses, and then you're going to total that up. Now, I know there's going to be a discrepancy between the income and the expenses. That's to be expected because we're now taking 30% of what you bring in and allocating it. And we haven't done that in the past. So we're going to find ourselves in this deficit on paper. But that's okay because we've set an intention to balance that out. And we will be doing that in this program. All right, let me get out of that and bring this back down here. So your homework for this week is to complete that workshop sheet. Again, you're not giving it to anybody. Nobody else gets to see it. It's just you. But that's our way of mapping things out. Now, when I teach the foundations class, well, any class that I teach, I say, what is your intention for this class? Whether that's joy or prosperity or whatever. And we ask them on a scale from 1 to 10, where are you? And then we ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you like to be? Now, mostly people come up with 1 to 3 on the where they are now, and then they want to be a 10. And I think that's a good starting point for us here. We're going to set an intention and we're going to designate what that means. In this case, because we're talking about this worksheet, in this case, we're going to say that our first intention for prosperity is to have enough money to tithe to ourselves, to God, and for paying off loans or whatever and investments, plus all the other expenses. We're going to have enough money to cover all of that. So that's our starting point, because you can't jump from $2,000 a month coming in to $1 million, right? The subjective mind will not allow it. It will say, oh, you can't do that. There's no way. Or you don't deserve that. You deserve the $2,000 a month, but you don't deserve that. So all in all, you're probably looking at maybe a goal of $3,000 from $2,000. And that's your intention that you're going to set with all of this. So each week we are going to be talking about a law, a spiritual law. Each week we're going to be talking about a spiritual practice. And each week we are going to do a spiritual practice. So your homework for this week is to fill out this worksheet, and we're going to do a gratitude practice this week. Now, gratitude is such a wonderful emotion to create with. Being grateful for what you have already received or what is on its way to you is a lot better creative tool than focusing on what you didn't get this month, or what, I've had a lot of people in my classes over the years, when we get to the gratitude part, are like, yeah, but I need $1,000 and I only got 100. Okay. So all you need to do is turn that to, oh boy, I got 100. Now I only need 900 more. You see what I'm saying? We want to focus our attention on that gratitude, because gratitude is like a magnet. It will attract to you that which you have already set in motion. I love listening to Abraham Hicks. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a channeled entity. And he has this thing about a vortex, and I just love the vortex. It's like the eye of the storm. And he says when you're in the vortex, that's where all your power is. So the more time you can spend in the vortex, the more likely you are going to get what you've created. Because the universe is behind the scenes creating everything that you've set. His words are rockets of desire. When you send off a rocket of desire, the universe begins to create the result of that rocket. And so if this is all going on in the background and we're not aware of it, but when we're in the vortex, that's when the results of what has been created come to us. Now, being in the vortex means that we're in a positive state of mind, that we are feeling grateful for our life and everything we've created. And when you're in that state of mind, you can't worry about what's going on in politics. You can't worry about what's going on in your life. You can't worry about how much money is not coming in, right? In the vortex, all you're going to be doing is practicing feeling peace, joy, and love and gratitude. So our gratitude practice this week, that's going to get us in the zone, in the is going to be first thing in the morning, you're going to have an expression of gratitude. Now, I don't care how you do it. One of my mentor ministers, Reverend Dr. Marjorie Stamm, who was like the grandmother you never had, or at least that I never had. I always wanted her to be my grandmother, but she was in her 80s. She never would let us know exactly how old she was. And we're talking now 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. But we roomed in Puerto Vallarta together, and I was sleeping because it's very sunny there, and the windows, they didn't really have any shades or anything, and so the sun would just come in right when the sun came up. So I would lay there with the covers over my head, and Marjorie taught this. I knew she taught it. I don't know why it never occurred to me that she would live her life this way, but she did. And first thing in the morning, she would throw her covers off, swing her feet around to the side of the bed, plant her feet on the floor and say, "Praise God! This is the day that God has made." Sorry, Gia, I have a chihuahua on my lap that doesn't like, she gets startled when I get too exuberant. Anyway, and I would lower the sheet a little bit and I go, "Hola, Marjorie." And she would say, "Hola, Tucker. Let's go forth and love this day that God has created." And I'm like, okay. And I'd put that back up. But she lived her life that way. She actually did. Now, I'm not saying that's what you need to do in the first thing in the morning. There's many ways that you can celebrate gratitude first thing in the morning. You can do what Marjorie did, for sure. Another way is the song by Karen Drucker. I'm grateful for this day, Spirit. I'm grateful for this day. I'll give you the information on how to order her CDs. That's a Karen Drucker song. But anyway, you're going to practice one form of gratitude when you open your eyes in the morning. It doesn't really matter whether it's swinging your feet over the side and, declaring, "Praise God, this is the day God has made," or listening or even singing along to the song by Karen Drucker. Or if you'd like to just get up in the morning and start writing gratitude for what you expect the day to bring. Doesn't matter to me. Whichever way you do it, just make sure that that is the first thing you do, first thing in the morning. Before that first cigarette, before that first cup of coffee, before you actually get up to go to the bathroom, before you do any of that, one expression of gratitude. And then we're going to take gratitude breaks all day long. I know, when you're working on a computer, for example, you need to take breaks. But even physical labor, you need to take breaks. So during those breaks, I want you to think of something that you're grateful for that has happened that morning, or, before you took your break. And then at lunchtime, you're going to write down 5 things that you're grateful for. And in the afternoon, you're going to take a gratitude break. And again, be grateful for something that has happened that day. And remember, it's not just an intellectual exercise. You're trying to evoke that feeling of gratitude, because the feeling fuels the thought, right? And so then at night, you're going to write down 10 things that you're grateful for. And I don't care if you repeat the same 5 things that you did at lunchtime and add 5 more. I don't really care how you do your practice. All I know is whatever it takes for you to be actually feeling that gratitude, that's what you want to do. And that's going to be the last thing you do before you turn off your light and go to sleep. So you make sure you got all your nighttime rituals over with before you start the gratitude. And then fall asleep with gratitude on your mind, because that's what's going to solidify the gratitude in your mind and in your heart. Hi, it's 11:11. Hi, Fred, Kathy, Marlene, Joey, and Lynn. Dr. Fred Vogt, who is one of my mentor ministers, used to say, at 11:11, which happens twice a day, the veil between the worlds is lifted, and people from the other side can communicate, and you can communicate with them. So ever since Dr. Fred passed away, I have always acknowledged 11:11 when I see it. And sometimes I see it twice a day, and other times I don't see it at all. But I will tell you that one time, Dr. Kathy Vogt, she was his wife, and I were at a conference, and something upset me. I can't remember what happened. And I went back to the room, and I walked in, and I smelled Dr. Fred's cologne. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Because, he obviously had been gone for months, and so his cologne could not have been in the room. And I looked at the clock, and it was 11:11. So it solidified for me that that was true. She came running in after me, concerned about me, and she said, boy, it smells like Fred's cologne. And then pop, it was gone. And she looked at the clock, and she went, oh, it's 11:11. So we both had that same experience without saying anything to each other about it. And so now I know that he's right. 11:11 is the time where the veil is lifted. So I always celebrate that. Okay, back to the program. So this week, what I'm going to ask you to do is the first thing I want you to do when the program ends today is I want you to ask yourself, where are you with your prosperity? Are you a 1? Are you a 2? Are you a 3? On and on. And where do you want to be at the end? I assume everybody wants to be at 10 at the end. 1 being not that great, and 10 being the ultimate. All right. So I want you to decide that for yourself. Then I want you to start your gratitude practices. First, just do it tonight. Make sure that you write down 10 things that you're grateful for during this day. And then complete your worksheet. Now, the most immediate thing that you're going to do at the end of the service, I ask you to say the offering affirmation with me. And underneath that is the Contribute Now button. And I want you to commit yourself to the 1% today by contributing 1% of your income. Like I said, if you're making $2,000 a month, it's $20. It's not a lot. But everyone who participates fully in this program, including the tithing, will receive at the end a free copy of my book on a PDF, because obviously I can't. I don't have the physical copies anymore. So I will be sending you a PDF copy. And I will be giving you what we call a thriver's license, not a driver's license, but a thriver's license. Because instead of just making do, we'll be thriving. And so you will have a license to thrive. All right. So will you do that with me this week? Will you do your exercises, fill out the worksheet, practice your gratitude, be aware of where you want to be, where you are now and where you want to be, and make sure and tithe 1% of your income today? Are you willing to do that with me? Okay. Let's have a prayer. So right now, I turn my awareness to the infinite power, the infinite presence, the infinite life of God. And that is where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being, for it is who I am. And every thought, every deed, every action is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through all of life. The same wisdom flows through all, including the team, for Karen, and for Tina, and for Elaine, and for Oz. For we are all guided and led by that flow of the ancient wisdom, flowing equally through all, being the guiding light in our life. I know that same truth to be so for everyone who is listening. That all of our thoughts, actions, are led by that ancient wisdom of the ages as it flows through us, guiding us. I know we are all connected through this one source of God. Chaos and all my brethren, we are related. And so I bless this week with opportunities and experiences of what prosperity looks like, it feels like, it is like in our world. As we move through the exercises for today, as we work through the exercises for this week, we are reminded how powerfully God is working through our lives. That what we have created, we can uncreate and create something new just as easily. For the power of God flows through us. And each day this week is a new awareness that the power of God moves through us, moves through our lives. We are filled with an awareness that no matter what the worksheet looks like, that we can get to where we want to be through the power of God. And as anything that doesn't look like that comes up to be worked with, we remain calm and peaceful and joyous, and we are grateful for those experiences that take us to a deeper level of what prosperity really looks like, feels like, sounds like, even tastes like. I know the same truth to be so for every name that is in the ministry of prayer today. Because I know that no matter what they are experiencing, God is the answer. So I pull back that veil right now and accept for them in their name the good of God. I claim it as done, good and very good. As I give thanks for this knowledge, thanks for the idea that it is already done. I give thanks for being in service in this way. My heart fills with gratitude as I let this be. And so it is. Amen. Now is our, oh, there we go. I got rid of it. Now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to share with gratitude that which you have already received, or in the physical realm, or something you have created in the mind of God already and have yet to experience here in the physical realm. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to go with me to, I'm getting better at this, by the way. It's taking a little bit, but I am getting better at it. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to go with me to www.oasiscsl.org and say the offering affirmation with me, about 2/3 down the page. And then underneath that is the Contribute Now button. And so let me share with you what you are contributing to. We have a vision for a healed world, and our mission to get there is to heal the world one person at a time. In order to do that, unfortunately, it means that we have to pay for it. You know, there's costs involved in marketing. We already have people from Bangladesh, India, Philippines. Oh, there's a couple others. Germany, United Kingdom, which is Great Britain or England, the Netherlands, which is Holland. We already have people from those countries. We would like to increase the viewership of those countries as well as the United States, but also develop new countries. Because in order to heal the world, that's global, right? And so we need to market to do that. So When you contribute, you are contributing to our mission to get to our vision, as well as participating in our program by tithing 1% today. So go with me now, whether that's in real time or later on, to www.oasiscsl.org and say this offering affirmation with me. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. All right, hit that contribute now button and do your 1% for this week. You won't regret it. You won't miss it. I promise. All right. Let's see. Let's do these first because it's easier. I'm already on these. Okay. Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's website is showing at the moment. And there's a lot of music that she has that is just wonderful. If you have enjoyed anything that we've done, like the second song we do, We Are All One. If you enjoyed that song, you can definitely buy it off her website. You will have to buy it by the CD. She doesn't have songs available just individually, unless you go to Spotify, and in which case, or Alexa, in which case you can do just one song. But also, she has no way to change her website so that you pay for it on the website. I don't know why it would happen. And she travels around the country singing all over the place. So what you do is you go on her website, you decide what you want to purchase, and then you email her and let her know. And then she travels around the country with it in either the trunk of her car or in her RV. And she's really good about sending it out as soon as she gets payment. So she'll let you know how to pay for it. You pay for it. She sends it out right away. So definitely check her stuff out. She has a lot of good stuff. And then there's Karen Drucker's website, which you can do whatever you want on her website. You can buy it by the song. You can buy it by the CD. You can buy a songbook, karaoke files, all of those. And you can buy it right there because her website does work. And I have a favorite. Faith, I used to say Faith, and I have a favorite, which is her Songs of Spirit series. It's a little like having, well, it really is having affirmations put to music, which makes it easier. And one of the songs, the gratitude song, is on the Songs of Spirit, I believe. So it's Songs of Spirit and then Songs of Spirit 2, 3, and 4. But you can look and see which songs are on what CDs. And definitely, if you want to wake up in the morning with that song, definitely choose that song and be able to play it. All right. These, by the way, all of these are wonderful gifts that you can give yourself or someone else. So definitely check them out. The next is Brooks and Bailey, which is a couple of ladies who make jewelry. And for instance, the jewelry that, the bracelet that I have, that I've had for 6 years, has only slipped off my wrist twice. And for those of you who know me, that's like a record because I lose jewelry on off my wrist all the time. I don't know what the deal is with that. It's only slipped off a couple times, and that's when I've caught it on clothing. It has a circle with a bar through it that keeps it on your arm. So it is definitely worth it. All of the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, which is definitely a worthy cause. And you can reach them through their email, brooksandbailey0307@gmail, or on their Facebook page. Whenever they're going to have an event somewhere, they're going to have a table at an event, I try to repost that. All right, we're going to go over just a few minutes because I really want to do this. This is the mala I really recommend from them. These are mala bead necklaces. The Buddhists and the Hindus use them, move one bead at a time, to do their chants. I say do it for affirmations. When we get to the affirmation portion, I'll explain more about that, but I recommend at least 100 times a day. Well, there's 108 beads on the mala bead necklace and 54 on the bracelets. This particular one, because it's amethyst, is 60. They have $30 and up gemstones. The bracelets, I believe, are $15 to $25. So don't quote me on that, but but anyway, check these ladies out, definitely. And get yourself some mala beads, because we are going to be doing affirmations at some point in this program. All right. I'm going to turn this over to Oz.
There we go. I know right here, right now, that God's presence is in us, as us, and all around us. For God's presence is ever eternal and infinite. The full power of God is channeling through us right now at this moment. And we allow the perfection that arises from that power to manifest in our lives as who we are. We know this is good and very good. And for this, I give great thanks and let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you. And thank all of you for being here, because I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. And we're really blessed that you were here with us as well. If you would like to participate in the program, DM me real quick and I will send you the worksheet. Obviously, if you did your 1% contribution today, I will automatically send the spreadsheet out. And if you participate fully 100% over the next 10 weeks, you will get a free copy of my book on PDF. So there will be other things that I will be sending out as we progress through the program. So come back next week and every week at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, U.S. time. Until then, stay safe. We love you. Bye.